Hello aspirants, welcome to Ishmael's Academy. Today's chapter is New Empires and Kingdoms in Class 6 NCERT. So the introduction is, this inscription is of a special kind known as Prashasti, that is a Sanskrit word mean in praise of. Prashastis were composed for some of the rulers. Samudragupta's Prashasti. The poet praised the king in glowing terms as a warrior, as a king who won victories in battle, who was learned and the best of the poets. He is also described as equal to the gods. The Prashasti was composed in very long sentences. Harishena describes 4 different kinds of rulers and tells us about Samudragupta's policies towards them. The rulers of Aryavarta, the rulers of Dakshinapada, and the inner circle of neighboring states, the rulers of the outlying areas. That is the 4 different kinds of rulers. Rulers of Aryavarta, the area shaded in green on the map. You can search it in the Google Chrome about rulers of Aryavarta map. So you will get that. I just picked out the important nodes, so there is no map in this video. You can see that in the Chrome. Here there were 9 rulers who were uprooted and their kingdoms were made a part of Samudragupta's empire. The rulers of Dakshinapada, here there were 12 rules. Aryavarta there were 9 and Dakshinapada there were 12. Some of whose capitals are marked with red dots in the map. As I said earlier, there is no map in the video. You can search it in the Chrome. They surrendered to Samudragupta after being defeated, and he then allowed them to rule again. The inner circle of neighboring states, that is Assam, coastal Bengal, Nepal, and a number of Ghana Sankas in the northwest, they brought tribute, followed his orders, and attended his court. The rulers of the outlying areas, perhaps the descendants of the Kushanas and Shakas, and the ruler of Sri Lanka, who submitted to him and offered daughters in marriage. Next is genealogies. Most Prashastis also mention the ancestors of the ruler. This one mentions Samudragupta's great grandfather, father, and mother. Harshavardhan and Harshacharitra. Knowledge about the Gupta kings and many others got it from the inscriptions and the coins. Harshavardhana, who ruled nearly 1400 years ago, was one such ruler, which we get information from the inscriptions and coins. His court poet Banabhatta wrote his biography. So, who wrote the biography of Harshavardhana is Banabhatta. And that biography known as Harshacharitra, which is the name is in Sanskrit. This gives us the genealogy of Harsha and ends with his becoming king. Zhuang-Sang also spent a lot of time at Harsha's court and left a detailed account of what he saw. And his brother-in-law was the ruler of Kannauj and he was killed by the ruler of Bengal. Harsha took over the kingdom of Kannauj and then led an army against the ruler of Bengal. Although he was successful in the east and conquered both Magadha and Bengal, he was not as successful elsewhere. He tried to cross the Narmada to march into the Deccan but was stopped by a ruler belonging to the Chalukya dynasty, Pulikeshin II. Next kingdom is Pallavas, Chalukyas, and Pulikeshin's Prashasti. The Pallavas and Chalukyas were the most important ruling dynasties in South India during this period. The kingdom of Pallavas spread from the region around their capital Kanchipuram to the Kaveri Delta. So from Kanchipuram to Kaveri, the kingdom of Pallavas has spread, while that of the Chalukyas was centered around the Raichur Doab between rivers Krishna and Tungabhadra. Doab is the mediation or connection between two rivers. Alhol, the capital of Chalukyas, was an important trading center. It was developed as a religious center with a number of temples. Pallavas and Chalukyas frequently raided one another's lands, especially attacking the capital cities, which were prosperous towns. The best known Chalukya ruler was Pulikeshin II. We know about him from a Prashastis composed by his court poet Ravikirti. These tell us about his ancestors who are traced back through 4 generations from father to son. Pulikeshin evidently got the kingdom from his uncle. Afterwards, both the Pallavas and Chalukyas gave way to new rulers belonging to the Rashtrakuta and Chola dynasties. Next, the administrations of the kingdoms. There were some new developments as well. Kings adopted a number of steps to win support of men who were powerful, either economically or socially, or because of their political and military strength. Administration. Some important administrative posts were now hereditary. This means that sons succeeded fathers to these posts. For example, the poet Harisena was a Mahadanda or chief judicial officer like his father. Sometimes one person held many offices. For instance, beside being a Mahadanda Nayaka, that is a chief judicial officer, Harisena was a Kumar Amatya, that is important minister, and Sandhi Vigrahika, meaning a minister of war and peace. Besides, important men probably had a say in local administrations. These included the Nagarashrestri or chief banker or merchant of the city. That is the Sartvaha or leader of merchant caravans, the Prathama Kulika or the chief craftsman, and the head of Kayasthas or scribes. These policies were reasonably effective, but sooner or later some of these powerful men grew strong enough to set up independent kingdoms. New kind of army, like earlier rulers, some of these kings maintained a well-organized army with elephants, chariots, cavalry, and foot soldiers. Besides, there were military leaders who provided the king with troops whenever he needed them. They were not paid regular salaries. Instead, some of them received grants of land. They collected revenue from the land and used this to maintain soldiers and horses and provide equipment for warfare. These men were known as Samantas. Wherever the ruler was weak, Samantas tried to become independent. Now we will see the assemblies in the southern kingdom. The inscriptions of the Pallavas mention a number of local assemblies. These included the Sabha, which was an assembly of Brahmin landowners. This assembly functioned through subcommittees which looked after irrigation, agriculture operation, making roads, local temples, etc. The Yuar was a village assembly found in areas where the landowners were not Brahmins, and the Nagaram was an organization of merchants. These assemblies were controlled by rich and powerful landowners and merchants. Many of these local assemblies continue to function for centuries. These are not much important. Ordinary people in kingdom, that is lower caste people, had to live on the outskirts of the village, and high and mighty controlled the poor and lower people. These are all about the chapter 11th, and next chapter is 12th, buildings, paintings and books. So we will see that in next video. Thank you.